How's it going, folks? Welcome to Idiots versus Idiot. I am an idiot. My friend here, Danny, is an idiot. We are all idiots, and just the disclaimer for this show is the fact that everybody that is watching or might be watching this show is a complete moron, and we're just trying to figure this stuff out together. And just so everybody knows, anything that Danny or myself, and I and Danny may say, one of us, may not make sense because we are idiots. We are not responsible, but these are our own personal thoughts and processes on these topics. What do we got first, Danny?
Yeah, I was going to say, none of these are endorsed by my employer, who is me. I'm self-employed. I don't endorse any of the things I'm saying. So this first thing I wanted to talk about, which I think is hilarious, is Congresswoman Andrea Ocasio-Cortez.
AOC.
I think something's wrong with her brain. She's a dum-dum. But the rest of her is a tasty, tasty snack. All right?
That is, you are wrong on both of those. She is a very, very important and congresswoman, and I don't find her attractive at all.
Okay. Yeah, if she was a pudding cup, I'd splatter her all over my face, and I'm lactose intolerant.
Okay, so what is it you want to talk about AOC about?
In YouTuber, like millennial or even like Gen Z YouTuber or TikTok star fashion,
okay,
AOC, the great anti-capitalist herself, has dropped merchandise.
No.
On shop.ocasiocortez.com, the official AOC.
Okay. All right. Now,
okay.
When you told me about this, I didn't think this could be a thing. It can't be a thing.
It is a thing. It's a thing. And some of her, like her, and I run a direct-to-garment printing business. I don't do any of the direct-to-printing.
Dude, we all have merch, right? Big man.
Everybody has merch.
Big man gear right here, right?
Of course.
I mean, we all have merch. But AOC has her own merch.
And listen, I believe in the freedom of speech. I believe in free markets, commerce, all that stuff. I have a few rules when it comes to politicians and pastors also, but let's just start with her because she's a politician. If you want to be a politician that says, free markets are bad, we don't really have those. Everyone knows I'm an anarchist. We don't have to talk about that right now. But I'm just saying.
We'll get into it.
If you think that, okay, if you're Bernie Sanders, okay, and you think that housing should be a right, you don't get 4 houses, bro, or 5. I think he's up to 5 now. Okay? I say God bless, buy as many houses as you can, get extremely wealthy. That's the whole point of this country.
Right.
Make lots of money, buy fancy stuff you don't need.
100%. Okay?
I have a collection of watches that exceeds 20. That's the point of living in this country.
Absolutely.
That's the point. I'm anti-consumerism, but I'm pro-market. But if you're AOC, I just have to say, you can't sell $70 hoodies.
Okay, I'm looking at this now, and we're talking about, like, straight off the top. We got hoodie, the Green New Deal hoodie by AOC, right off the top. And
listen, I like some of the designs. As a guy who sells merchandise, the designs are good. I'm going to knock them off. I'm gonna knock them off, bro.
Dude, she's got a sweater here that says "Tax the Rich." AOC. Okay. All right, even if I'm down for that, right? Which I kind of am. I know taxation is stealing, but look,
all taxation is theft. You communist.
It's not. It's not.
Okay.
You're full of crap.
Yes, it is.
But tax the rich, the Green New Deal. I mean, these are all things that you would see straight from AOC's politics, right?
Yeah.
Which AOC plus me is one of these I see on here. I don't know what that exactly supposed to mean. Look, there's nothing new here. These are cliches.
And here's the other thing is, I think because these are sold officially by her campaign, it's technically a campaign donation, and she's not doing anything that any other politician hasn't. I mean, this guy who's currently in office, I forget his name, Orange Man. He sells these hats. At least his campaign at one point in time was selling these bright red hats. Huge hit, right? And hers, they have a disclaimer because you have to fill out all this information because it's technically a campaign donation. And all of hers have the disclaimer that these are printed in a unionized shop because you have to,
Are they
because
really?
it's AOC. But I'm just saying, I'm sorry, AOC. You of all people are not allowed to have merch. Everyone else can have merch.
I don't understand. Like, okay, look. Now, politicians, especially somebody like AOC in 2020, these people are one of the things that AOC and one of the things that got her elected, quite frankly, is this embracement of her own brand, right?
I think you mean she is a fit bum, and that's why she got elected.
No.
That video from the roof of
You
like
sexist bastard. Anyway,
I am.
The point.
I openly admit that. But I was gonna say I thought it was that video of her like with the wet hair doing the dance.
No. The AOC in the squad, right? AOC in itself being, I doubt she called herself AOC before.
No.
You know what I mean? Any of this political stuff. So AOC and the squad, they have embraced this new age marketing trend of branding themselves, right? She's branding herself. And I think this is just a really smart extension of that because each one of these have her AOC kind of logo that she's created on it, on these cups and these t-shirts and whatever.
And the guy who did it first was Obama. That worked out for him.
Sure.
Right? He went from, he's a cultural icon. I didn't vote for the guy. I don't like him.
Dude, you can't look at that poster, right? How many times has that poster been used?
The
kind of
Shepherd Fairey
colorized,
poster,
you know what I mean? Poster, whatever. You look at that and you instantly think of his campaign,
of
no
course.
matter whose face is on it.
It was brilliant. And his logo was used, like he made a logo like he was a business.
Right.
And I think that's interesting. But I'm just saying, like, who does AOC think she is? Supreme? I mean, every TikTok star, every, and I give them credit, though, is like, there was another guy running for Congress out of Seattle who was also a Democratic Socialist, who was, like, doing Instagram Lives answering questions. Like, I give you credit for the hustle, right?
Right, sure.
I think the business you're trying to get into is government. I think that is a scam. So I think your hustle is a scam.
It's a noble profession. I think she's trying to go about it in a new way.
I think
she played Among Us and raised. She played Among Us, right, live, and made a lot of money for charity and stuff like that.
And she should quit her job and just be a full-time streamer chick. No. There's a lot of money in being a booty streamer, and
I think there's more money where she's at right now. Thank you very much.
No, actually, you're right. Being a corporate overlord, but this is also like, again, not to be unnecessary political, but like we all say we believe certain things, but when push comes to shove, we all praise the dollar. Like she's trying to hustle and she's making money, and the only thing is don't get high on your own supply, chick. Like don't get high on your own brand and think that you are anything other than a lowly congresswoman rather, from a district that isn't hard for a Democrat to win.
I think that's too late. And I'll tell you why. Because of this merch, because of the things that she says specifically to get in the headlines on a daily basis or every other day basis or whatever. These kind of things are strategic, right? And again, I'm not calling her a sellout at this point. I'm just saying that she's definitely sold some things out. She is playing the game to her benefit, as she has the ability to do so, right? As long as it's legal, I'm down, right? But it's on purpose. She's created a caricature of herself, right? And she benefits from staying in the newspaper every other day by saying something crazy and outlandish, right?
No, I think she thinks those things, which is why I think as a country we'd be better off if she just put her booty on Twitch and was just a booty streamer.
Does any politician believe everything they say, or is there a portion of it that is said because they are supposed to say it, or it makes them relevant, or whatever? I do find it very curious that under the word pride on her website is only a single item. It's her standard, what looks like her standard AOC t-shirt, logo, but in a rainbow. So apparently it's not even, gay pride to her is not even worth a unique t-shirt. That's all I'm saying. That in itself is you're letting go, right?
Right,
Like
yeah.
you're mailing it in. This is phoning it in.
Right. I listen. Like I said, I actually really liked the Green New Deal hoodie.
It is.
I sent I that's the only one I liked. I sent two of them. I sent the other ones to my designer. I was like, hey, knock these off with these slogans on them, get them up. But unfortunately, my provider, because it's the holidays, is like only 2 new products a day or something. So it's a big bummer. But this leads into my other story that I wanted to talk about, which is Supreme. Do you know who Supreme is? What Supreme is?
Hold on. I just literally ran across the best shirt on her entire thing.
Okay.
Entire thing. Just ran across it. I'm sitting here going through this as you're talking. It says in big, bold letters, drink water and don't be racist.
Yeah.
That's it. Just, I did not know it was that simple to drink water and not be racist. This is a revelation, Danny. She is revolutionizing the way we think.
The guys at the water company where I live are all white people, so all of my water is racist. I can't help it. So
that is awful, Danny, and you should stop drinking that water immediately.
I'm not, dude. I'm gonna drink more of it. You can't stop me.
That is insane. Insane.
So this leads me to my next story, which is Supreme, which I don't know if you're familiar with streetwear culture. I'm, in my 30s. It was really born in my youth. Huff and these other streetwear brands. I was raised in the Midwest. You couldn't get any of this stuff. Like, I still remember my friends who streetwear is kind of this intersection of skateboarding and hip hop, which is they didn't have a natural marriage necessarily. I don't think, culturally speaking, but I do think the style, the baggy jeans was definitely a thing. A lot of my skater friends.
The long T-shirts, right? The long baggy T-shirts, right? Yeah.
And so you had Huff, and I'm trying to think of a couple other brands off the top of my head, but I can't remember. But and Supreme was like it was the top dog. They had the drops, and Supreme has been known for selling a brick with the Supreme logo in it. The Supreme logo, which is just
why not?
which is a font that you can just go download. It's not a custom font, in a red box, which is actually a logo that they stole, according to Barbara Kruger, who is a journalist, and she used to, like, a lot of her headlines, or she was a magazine journalist, and she would put out these stories, and it was always a red box with white letters, and they kind of and then they went to court. She dragged them through court, but I think ultimately the ruling was it's a red rectangle.
It's a red rectangle with white letters.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't trademark. It's hard to trademark something a 3-year-old can put together, right? And but is there really anything new, right? I mean,
no.
Does it really surprise me that AOC has a T-shirt that says racist on it? You know what I mean? In some form.
Don't be racist.
Okay, whatever. It doesn't surprise me. Does it surprise me that she has a shop where you can buy a sweater that says a Green New Deal? No.
It's $70 or something.
Does this apply to your general public? Absolutely not, right?
Right.
Does it benefit her and say, hey, look, to my diehard AOC and squad mates, is this a great way to, you know what I mean? I think that's, again, to me, this is not her trying to be Ivanka Trump with some clothing line. This is her saying, this is another pin in the cap of something that I can say, hey, go here, make a donation to my thing. You get a sweater that you're never going to wear that says a Green New Deal, right? And go on about your business. I think, again, to me, this is more of a symbol than actually doing something.
Right, and what I'm trying to relate it to is, this company, Supreme, was recently acquired by VF Brands. They own Dickies, they own Timberland, they own JanSport. I can't remember. They own a bunch of different clothing. North Face.
Sure.
$2.1 billion.
Of course. I mean, look, again, that goes back to conglomerates like that are going to eat up anything that has enough of a following, right? Levi's is owned by a company like that. Now, all these old school independents, whether you know it or not, are owned by some umbrella corporation that bought out that name to continue making that product because they know the name has loyalty. And that's what I'm saying about this particular thing. This campaign of hers for this brand is marketing. It's not something that's ever going to be picked up by a conglomerate like that.
No, of course not.
You know,
I don't expect that either, but
it's just going to be a, hey, here's my merch because it's something else for my own branding, right, that I have, that I've embraced because this is what people in today's world that have their own brand, hence you, me, and everybody else, this is something you expect.
Right. And it's, listen, and now just here sitting talking about it, I was thinking, you know, if she ever ends up leaving office, here's a street, like she has, which I don't think in the United States anyway, this used to be the case, at least in my head, was like, you can run for office as a business tactic now, you know, like.
Dude, but that's not either. Ross Perot did it back in the day, right, as a business tactic. You can argue the politics of it, but he did. There was a benefit to him having his name on the nightly news and his companies and stuff like that. But yes, you're absolutely right. It's guerrilla marketing at its best, right? Even if there's only that 1% of 1% that's actually going to wear this Green New Deal, you know what I mean, hoodie?
Right.
That person that walks around with it on is a billboard for AOC, right?
No, let me just say this. It's going to be used by the people who buy it, who don't live in her district.
Absolutely.
It's going to be used as a symbol of, like, you know, I'm
Christmas dinner.
my virtue.
Christmas dinner, right?
Yeah. So, let me give you an example. I've been brown the entire time I've been alive.
You have? Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
And the entire time, and I remember during the Obama years, people, generally hippie-looking white people.
Okay. We're generalizing, but go ahead.
Yeah. Would give me a look. They'd wear their Obama logo shirt, and they'd give me a look like, what do you think?
You and me?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I would always, like, it made me dislike the guy and his campaign and the people who voted for him more than I already did, which was pretty significantly. It was just worse. Okay, so let's jump over that second story. We'll do that after this one. But since we're on the subject, the guy who's currently in the office, the guy who has his own merch, Make America something, something, something or other.
Okay.
He's the first guy who went from being a businessman to jumping right into the Oval Office. What do you think he does now that he's out? I think, my guess, he acquires One America News and maybe even Newsmax, but he rebrands OAN as Trump Network, and he doesn't do anything to Newsmax, and he just owns it. That's my guess.
So to be clear, your question to me is our current sitting president, President Donald Trump.
May he live forever.
Sure. You're asking me what I think he does after he's no longer president, January 21st, 2021.
I think you mean 2025 or whatever he has.
Okay, so he's speaking facetiously, folks. But anyway, so
it's a show called Idiots versus Idiots.
It is Idiots versus Idiots, which is obvious. Anybody that's watched any part of this show already, if you've seen 30 seconds, you know we're Idiots versus Idiots. We don't know anything about what we're talking about, but the answer to your question is, look, we've got to make it to January 21st without somebody exploding something between now and then. But yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think what's going on with his Twitter feed on a daily basis, I think with Rudy Giuliani and all of these hearings, as they keep calling them, which is not a hearing, but hearings, I think it is all a long con. I think it is him doing nothing but grifting his constituency, whoever they may be, mostly poor people, you know what I mean? Mostly uneducated white people, statistically speaking. And he's grifting them to fund what you just said. Whatever his next thing is. Quite frankly, honestly, he doesn't even have to go out and buy OANN or Newsweek. He could just as easily do what Joe Rogan has done, or any of the other Republican, right? Alex Jones or Rush Limbaugh or
Alex Jones isn't a Republican.
It doesn't matter. He's a close friend of the president, if you listen to him. The point is he could create his own sit in Mar-a-Lago, record his daily hour-long, 2-hour-long with people that kiss his ass, and then use OAN and Newsweek, and they would play his crap on repeat.
I said Newsmax, not Newsweek.
Whatever,
completely
Newsmax.
Different.
Okay, but
let me just say this: what I will say about this guy when he was running for office, in contrast to the last guy, I actually thought he was funny and entertaining to listen to. I'm not saying anything about his policies or his politics. All I'm saying is this guy was doing stand-up. Like, he's going out there, he's doing an hour. He's in his 70s or whatever. I don't know what kind of crank they have this guy on. He does 5 campaign stops in a day, an hour each. There's a famous comedian. He had a special called Libertas. His name's Dave Smith. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of his. And he's like, his special came out maybe like a couple years ago. And he's talking about this guy's going, what else when he's on stage. And he goes, this is what stand-ups do when they're writing material. They don't know what they're going to say. And they go, what else to jog their memory?
Sure.
This guy, I've always said since he won the presidency, there's 2 people, if we have universities in the future, which I hope we don't, there's 2 people that the communication students are going to be studying, Kris Jenner and Donald Trump.
I agree with both of those.
Kris Jenner took her daughter's illicit sex tape and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar, multi-generational pool of wealth that just gets them paid and paid and paid.
Dude,
in a way that her husband never got paid for, her ex-husband, for defending OJ. Like
the Kardashians? I mean, come on. This is an entire brand built out of... look, but again... yes, you are right. And I think this, when they look back in history, and even the not too distant history, when they're looking back, they're going to, as always, like any previous president, previous economic issues or whatever, they will pick this apart. Now, how will all of this be looked at? And I've seen several news networks out there kind of make this attempt in how are people 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when they're looking at this, how are they going to take this? How are they going to take? Are they going to take it as in you've got a president that is trying to upend the voting system of America? Are they going to take it as in he really was trying to honor what he thought was right? How are they going to write this history book looking back on this, right? And I don't know what the answer to that is, because I look at some of these tweets. Look, I believe that he's a grifter. That's what I believe. But you look at some of these tweets he puts out, and some of these people, and some of these articles, and some of these, right? Some of these people believe. They do. They believe. They really do. So if they believe, is there somebody out there that's going to write that history book that believes as well? That's my question. I think so.
Here's what I also think, being political, but I think that the other side, the Obama group had such a fantastic cult of personality, right? And there was a deficit, an emotional deficit on the right, where it was just boring candidate after boring candidate of like milk toast. Like Mitt Romney won't even drink coffee, and he's more boring than watching paint dry. And all deference to John McCain, I actually voted for. There was the first time I ever voted was John McCain. Never voted Republican after that.
One of my favorite epic battles of rap history is Romney versus Obama. That was great. But I digress. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I think watching him leave the White House, if that does happen, I don't know. Here's what I do feel bad about. Not bad, but I was like, whether or not I think Trump is a grifter, there is an entire industry of grifting that is built on Donald Trump. right?
Well, and will continue to be.
I think
Regardless.
that I hope they do. You know, there's the Black MAGA crowd. They're fascinating. I don't know if like a Candace Owens type is a grifter or not. I can't really tell. And if she is, God bless. Get paid, sister. Like, I don't care.
Well, again, and this is what you and I are here to talk about. This is why it's idiots versus idiots. You're an idiot. I'm an idiot. We're all idiots. This is just my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Based on do I know President Trump or anybody in his family personally? No. Have I ever sat down and have a conversation with any of them? Which I would love to do. By the way, President Trump, if you're watching this and you want to make a phone call to us, we would love to, put out a little thing here. But my point is I don't know any of these. What do I have as a quasi-informed opinion based on the information I have? And that information says that this guy has been outvoted by 7 million votes in the United States of America, and he is continuing on a daily basis to talk about unprovable things, and that in itself causes damage to those people. Here's what I feel bad about.
Here, I disagree. Let me just say this much. I think if you actually believe he's a grifter, let's assume I agree with you. I don't. He is serving the interest of the people he's so-called grifting. I don't think he's grifting them. This is what they want out of the man. He was elected to be this guy. Again, I don't think these people necessarily cared about his politics or anything. Let me tell you what I think.
Of course not.
I think these people wanted to give the system a massive middle finger.
Yes, a kick right in the balls.
Exactly. And that's what he is. And what is he supposed to do when he loses his bid for re-election? Continue to kick in the balls. That's the job, though. He wasn't hired for, like, all the other stuff was ancillary, the policies. Nobody cared. He never talked about that on stage. He never talked about that from the Oval Office. All he did was he was a middle finger to the system. And to the people who think, now that Trump's out of office, if he leaves office or whatever, that it's going back to normal, you're wrong. You're so wrong. You're doomed. You did not see anybody get out in the street when Mitt Romney lost in 2012.
Right.
No one cared. Or when Mitt Romney got out in this, no one, sure, the Tea Party started up, but there's a bunch of geriatrics. I hung out with some of those people.
Yeah.
A bunch of geriatrics who were like, maybe the tax shouldn't be 40, it should be 37 and a half.
The Tea Party was supposed to be the middle finger, the first middle finger.
It didn't work.
The problem is those grifting a-holes were the same cronies that they just said, hey, I'm a member of the Tea Party. I am. Yeah. It's me right here. Yeah, I'm the Tea Party. No. But I agree with you in that I think the people that he represents, in large part, the Trumpers, not GOPers, not Republicans, but Trumpers are exactly what you said. He represented the people that are tired of the governmental complex not doing the things that they need done that help them or perceive that they help them. And in that, he has been exactly that. He has been a middle finger for 4 years. And now, whether that accomplished anything that they wanted it to accomplish, or whether it actually, in the grand scheme of things, did anything. Oh, by the way, he got one thing through legislature, which was actually marked the lowest. His approval rating was the lowest in his entire presidency the day that he signed the one bit of litigation he actually got through Congress, which is corporate tax legislation through the legislature.
Yeah. You said litigation like he was going to court.
No, I'm sorry. Legislature. Yeah. Okay, through the legislature was corporate tax cuts, and it was actually the lowest he was ever rated, and that includes through coronavirus.
I know.
Because it was that unpopular. That's the one thing that he did, which is actually the most Republican thing ever.
Yeah. So I'm making a prediction, and then you should make yours, and then we have we have 2 more stories. I'm saying he acquires both OANN and Newsmax, and he turns OANN into more of the the opinion thing.
Sure.
I think he takes it all online. I think that he's getting kicked off of Twitter. I'm guessing he's getting kicked off of Twitter. On Facebook, he is no longer listed as president of the United States. Facebook now refers to him as a political candidate.
Oh, his whole get rid of Section 230. You heard about that, right?
Well, yeah, of course. But
Section
that's
230 gives them protection from what people say and stuff. So, but look, I think that's a good guess. If I was willing, I think
I also think he's starting a political party, and I think the daughter's going to run it, and I think the son's going to run for office as a third party, and he's going to split the Republicans.
I think he has no desire to start a political party. I think he wants the Republican Party. I think he wants that. He wants the Republican Party. He wants it. He doesn't think he needs to create a third party. He wants the GOP. He wants it to be Trumpism, not Republicanism. And that's the way he sees it. Now, I think you've got a good guess, but I think he would be better served to do what I said, which is create his own YouTube channel, his own Joe Rogan show, his own Rush Limbaugh show, or whatever.
I don't think he can, because I think part of the reason he is pushing on 230 right now is because he's looking at how do I leave and go where there's an audience. But the point is, he's a headliner. Right. He doesn't need a platform. He is the freaking platform.
Well, that's why I say create that Joe Rogan show, that Rush Limbaugh, and use that. And OAN and Newsmax will pay him through the nose for unique, views for that unique, just like Spotify did Joe Rogan. Yep. You give us direct access, first access to this information that you're shoveling every day, and they will pay him through the nose for it, because all of a sudden these two no-name networks that nobody's ever heard of before the last month,
I've heard of them,
jump to the top of the list.
Yeah.
They jump. I mean, Fox News viewership, the 2 weeks that they really took a hard stance after the election against Trump,
right?
Half viewership down by half. That's
Trumpism.
It. That's Trumpism, right?
Well, they deserve. No, that's how much Donald Trump moves the market. And you can call him a grifter or whatever, but what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, his consumers, and in this scenario, their voters, they voted for a thing, and I think he delivered that thing to them. So I don't think they were grifted.
I think he gave them the illusion of that thing. That thing, and I agree with you that that's exactly what they did, and that's what they got, didn't accomplish anything that they wanted him to accomplish.
And that's because their system of belief, and this is me being an anarchist, is that if you vote, voting is going to work or do something. It doesn't.
That one person can make things happen, and that's just not true, right?
Yeah.
So even the President of the United States cannot force Congress to do their bidding as much as he may have tried. And that is true. And that's why our system is set up that way, so that no one person can do that, right? So but that's why I agree with you, but I don't think they got anything out of the deal. And the fact that they are still supporting it, not getting out of the deal, is why I think it's a grift.
No, I think what they're getting out of it, big man, is they're getting feelings. And if people pay big money to have a feeling.
That is true.
It's there is anything that it stirs that inertia of nostalgia. I'll pay money for it. I for instance, this is a side. We're getting off on a tangent here, but I purchased a ton of Power Ranger comic books. Power Rangers in the United States, they never had a comic book. Even in Japan, it was a TV show. But I'm so nostalgic for Power Rangers.
I went and saw the Power Rangers movie with you. I know exactly how nostalgic you are for Power Rangers.
It wasn't very good. The chicks in it were hot, and they're all in their 20s, so that's not inappropriate to say.
Yeah, but you're right. Look, the middle finger in itself gives you endorphins, right?
Yeah, and that is
giving someone the middle finger when you think they deserve it makes you feel better. So in that way, you can say, okay, some of the people that voted for Donald Trump wanted to kick everybody in the government in the balls. They got to kick them in the balls, and that in itself feels good.
And that was, and to them, they bought a Trump hat or whatever. It was $40 or $50. Yeah, is it a grift? I mean, that's here's the thing. In the context of politics, maybe it's a grift, but in the wider context of These are free people making a choice. It's no more a grift than buying a sandwich from Jimmy John's when you could go make a sandwich yourself. Like, it's not a grift. Like, they're getting value from it.
We'll call that an agree to disagree. But yes. And we'll talk more about that in the future as we go along, I'm sure.
Sure.
But those are, of course, mine and
your... This next thing I want to talk about, I have to get, this is really just your opinion.
Yeah.
I think these monolith sightings, which from the time I sent you the initial slate of stories for our inaugural episode, we went from one monolith sighting in a desert in Utah to three. Romania and one in California.
Okay, you realize we just jumped from Trump to monolith sightings, right? You realize we've hard left. And there are some people that would have gone, you haven't gone far at all.
No. This is you're talking about the president who, by the way, essentially confirmed aliens. So I don't think monoliths are that far off of that.
Okay, while we're on the subject of monolith, did you see that Stephen Colbert asked President Obama about aliens? And he looked at him and said, I can't talk about that.
Okay.
He said, yes or no, aliens, yes or no, President Obama. I can't tell you that.
Okay.
And he's like, I'll take that as a yes. Otherwise, it would be a no, right? It would be a no.
Right. So here's the thing. I think I'm going to go out there and make a prediction that it's Elon Musk. Maybe he's taking. I don't think SpaceX is public. I think his stock has done so well with Tesla. He's done so well taking Tesla public, with Tesla being public. I wonder if now that SpaceX has had some successful
launches and all this stuff. Yeah.
I wonder if his investors are looking for an exit and he's taking it public. And dude, this is the guy who sold people. This is not a flamethrower, okay? This is the guy who sold people Tesla tequila.
Of course. Look, I wouldn't put it past him. I don't think it doesn't feel like to me an Elon Musk-esque.
It feels like alien stuff to me, dog.
I mean, you and I way back when were doing videos, and they're right before it came out, the remake. People were seeing clowns and parks and stuff like this.
Yeah, there was a spike in
it. But it was right before they even released it. It was coming out, so it was this whole weird thing going on that nobody knew what the cause of it was. And then of course the It movie came out, and it all made sense afterwards. And maybe this feels more artsy fartsy. This feels more somebody is putting up these artistic. Out in the middle, like the one in the desert has been taken down, right?
Yeah.
Since, and the one in California, and then there's one in Europe somewhere, right? You said
Romania, yeah.
Romania. Okay, so there was a video. Now I don't know whether this is a real video. I saw it earlier today of some teenage kids taking down one of the monoliths. It may be fake, but the idea of the video was. Here's this group of 3 or 4 teenagers took down a monolith and put up a wooden cross instead, and they were kicking.
Oh, that's got to be fake. Did they burn the?
They were kicking on the monolith, right? They were kicking on the monolith and beating it up. It looked like a monolith. It looked triangular and shiny and whatever, Now, but again, and like I said, it could be fake. I saw it today. We're talking about the monoliths, but the point is, and I'm sure if it is, it's the one in California, not the one in Romania, right?
Yeah.
They were all speaking English, so but. It feels more artsy fartsy to me, more artistic than, like graffiti. You have these great graffiti artists that do these weird things, and
the New York Times, the very failed scam New York Times, they had some article about some artists who had monolith art that looked similar. Okay. So I really do think in my heart of hearts, sure, that's a guess. This is idiots versus idiots. The point is to make guesses. Right. My guess is SpaceX, but that's not something like if I had $5. I guess if I had $5, I'd bet on it. But
$5, but not 500, right?
No, not 50.
You don't feel that good about it,
No, but it wouldn't be funny. Now there are corporations out saying this is capitalizing on the situation. I just think it's hilarious. It's a great way to end 2020. Monoliths popping up all over the globe.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Look, look, it wouldn't surprise me if it's a marketing for someone, right? You're definitely
It
creating
100%
interest,
is.
right? If these
that?
pop up, there are people probably today that have nothing better to do than scour Google Earth. Just like when they said the one that popped up in the desert, like it was within hours. People scoured the Google Earth images and found out exactly where it was, right?
Well, no, that was. I thought it was like the U.S. Air Force was testing or something out there and saw it.
Well, but no,
Isn't
that's
that
what I'm saying. Like they saw it and said, "Hey, there's this weird object out here," and
Yeah.
they put it out there, and it was within hours that people, right, sitting in their
Oh,
mother's
man.
basements, was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna find this right exactly
Dude,
where it is." Because
you
when
live
they
in-
first, they didn't want people going out in the middle of the desert and dying, so they didn't say, "Here's exactly where it is." They just said, "Hey, we saw this out in the desert. We're not quite sure what it is," right? So they didn't want to give anybody a particular location, and within hours the internet had found it, probably some Redditor, right? Found it and put it out there on the internet, and then hours later somebody drove out in the middle of nowhere.
Here's my question, or thought is like, why does the Air Force even tell you they found something? They find stuff all the time they don't got to tell you about, and they don't tell you, and you don't know.
That is true. And maybe that's where the scheme starts, right? Is, hey, somebody. But look, I hope it is a marketing thing, because then I can look at it and learn something from it. You and I are both kind of those kind of people that can look at something and go, man, that was really freaking cool. I wish I thought of it, right? You know,
the new collection I'm dropping is called Monoliths or something. I'm going to name it something Monoliths. I'm going to take one of those pictures and find
it sounds like a really great name for a really inappropriate toy. That's what it sounds like. The Monolith, right? Don't you want the newest model of the Monolith? Yes, you do. You do. Okay?
I don't, but my girlfriend might. So.
Okay. Hey, honey, I got you the Monolith. That's exactly what you want. All right, what else we got? We got one more.
I think if you give your girlfriend a Monolith, you might become obsolete.
That's true. That's the slogan.
So, dude, stupid large, like silly large, nutso acquisition happened this week. Slack got acquired by Salesforce.
For $28 billion with a B, billion dollars.
Is it 28 or like 24.8? I thought.
Last thing I saw was 28 billion. 28.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
But it doesn't 20 some. Does it matter after you get past 20 billion? Does the leftover change matter? Is it? I always think those things when I read something that's like, all right, $28 million, $28 billion. Is it 28,372,514 and 12 cents? Like, is there stuff after? I mean,
it's 2.77 or it's 27.7. I mean,
okay, so
billion.
27 and change billion dollars, right? So
nuts.
Now, and this is Salesforce, and for those of you, and again, idiots versus idiots here, if you don't know what Salesforce is a company that provides, why it's called Salesforce, cloud-based sales tracking, manipulating software for any company that pretty much sells anything.
They're a customer, they have a CRM, right?
Right, they can track, manage everything from real estate agents to retail, right?
Yep.
Is Salesforce. And to me,
I know people in the energy field, they're dedicated to Salesforce. They're
absolutely right. It's a great CRM that does a lot of things, and it's cloud based, right? So it's an inexpensive option versus what they used to use, right?
Yeah.
So I guess you could say that they are a technology based new age company, right? Even though they've been around for a very long time. But I think with this, and you and I talked about this, but I think with this, it was their way of maneuvering in 2020, right? Our people have gone home, right?
Yeah.
The white collar workforce has gone home,
And I don't think they're going back to work.
I don't think companies want them back either. I mean, companies are looking at this and going, whoa, 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 whoa. I've paid how much in the last decade for office space? I've paid how much for electricity and water and all of these other things that I can literally take and put in my pocket. I can keep the same workforce I've had for the last decade and drop my bills, right?
Here's the other thing. I don't think that a decade ago this would have worked, though, right? It wouldn't have worked at this scale because high-speed internet just wasn't there yet.
Sure.
Like, as we get closer to gigabit proliferation, where everyone's going to have gigabit speeds in their house, I think what you're saying makes sense.
But we've been here for a while.
Yeah,
we've been here for a while. I mean maybe
Sam
not a
Zell
decade
is probably pissing his shorts, but
maybe not 10 years ago, but 5 years ago. And for Slack, for people that don't know in the industry or you've never used it, think of your text, Google messages, anything, Facebook Messenger.
Let me take it all the way back
on steroids.
Yeah, let me take it all the way back for our audience. It's just a chat room.
It's it. That's it. It is Yahoo Chat. Categories.
Yeah.
Files, right? Groups.
Yeah.
The ability to say, okay, you're in and you're out.
Yep.
That's
That's really all. Okay. So when I was working on a project with a entrepreneurial business with a couple of people, and we started using Slack. And here's what I think is really interesting about the story. These guys they left Yahoo and they started a video game company, and their video game didn't succeed, but they had this internal communications tool that they were using. Mm-hmm. And this was 2014 or 2015. So when they first launched a beta version, I started using it with some people I was trying to start a business with. Thankfully, that business didn't work out, but Slack, this is a lesson for entrepreneurs, I think, is like, if you're listening to the marketplace, don't be so bullheaded not to pivot to where they want you to be, right? Because value is subjective, and if they don't care about your dumb video game, but they love your communications tool, and you can run a Series A and a seed round, and I think they went I don't think they went past a Series C, if I remember correctly. They went public. I don't think their revenues equate to this level of value.
No, I don't think so. But at the same time, they had enough. Look, if I was Slack, and a lot of other companies, by the way, this year that had no value, Zoom, you know what I mean, things like this, have created value in the last year, right? Since January. And I think Slack had more than one suitor, I'm sure, as they would say in the old days. Yeah. And it drove that price up, right? Of course. Somebody was going to, and some major company was going to buy Slack for this purpose. It takes Salesforce, for example, and gives them an edge versus other CRMs out there that may be up and coming. It solves a problem for them. Right.
And I think it makes them a more robust business. And the question is, who else are they going to go out there and acquire? And, I wonder, because like Atlassian, I think it's pronounced Atlassian, the makers of Trello. I love Trello. I use the free Trello. I have it open right now. It's how I manage all my businesses and all my projects. I really like how it works. I'm very much a visual guy, so like it helps to have all my to-do lists and all that stuff. But it's
stupid. It's stupid. It's a stupid amount of money. Okay, we lost Danny, but he is back. And we were talking about Slack. But I will tell you this. Look, acquisition is innovation, right? We can innovate in that Slack created something that the market wanted. They've proven that. And Salesforce, by acquiring them, is going to then open that tool up to a lot more people, right? Look, and this is why I say acquisition is innovation. People don't know this. Talk about pharmaceuticals, for example. All the pills that we have, you realize that there's not been a single drug out in the marketplace in the last 30 years that wasn't created and started by a public university, by public funding, right? Not a single company out there, they talk about all this research and development, not a single pharmaceutical company out there has created a single patented drug from scratch without public funding from a public university, right? Now, that's what I'm saying. By acquisition can be innovation, right? The market can create and innovate, and then you can be bought out by somebody bigger that takes your product worldwide, that takes your product or your, what in this case, right, a technology-based app, right, and take it and make it something great and bigger, right?
Right.
And that's what to me that is business. That's what you take away from this, like you said, is something they started down a path and didn't realize that path was going to take them left, right, left, right, left, right. They thought it was going to be a straight line, and it ended up being something much better and much bigger.
Totally. And now my question is for Salesforce, like with an acquisition of this nature, like they're going to have to start swallowing up other companies for their portfolio of services to have good harmony, I think. Because you're out there in a world where Google's competing. There's a handful of other competitors. And if you're going to bother to acquire Slack, it better be part of a strategy where you're going to expand your holdings. Like I remember the first big acquisition Facebook made that was a super big deal was Instagram.
Right.
And Instagram had all of this deep Twitter integration, but I think the offer, I think Kevin's sister at some point in time was doing an interview and said, yeah, the offer from Instagram was like $700 million. Facebook came in at a cool B, so we took the B. And Gary Vee, at the time, it was like unconscionable volume of money for a company that was less than 2 years old, had zero revenue.
Right.
Gary Vee was like, nah, he stole it. Zuckerberg walked away with Instagram and stole it. And it's true. He did steal it because the next year, the year after, they acquired WhatsApp for $17 billion. And these numbers, man, to date, like to quote Dave Portnoy, they just keep going up, baby. Like stocks always go up. Like it's like I can't fathom. I'm part of this as, as someone who's a, kind of libertarianist kind of economy guy, economics guy. There's a function of like they're printing money at such a rapid pace. They are, institutional investment is so cheap to do at this point. Why not acquire? Right?
Well, and they should, because here's the deal. If you don't adapt, you die. Right?
Yeah.
Salesforce knew we can't take our current product in what is now the post-pandemic 2020 world. And by the way, a lot of these companies, your Google, your you know what I mean, your Amazons, this kind of stuff, they want to put pressure on people, these companies, to utilize these kind of services instead of going back to the office. Because here's what I think companies want to see. If I own an office in Dallas, Texas, and I own an office in Dallas, Texas, my workforce that I want to come into the office is a small geographic bubble, right, of people that can drive to my office. With products like Salesforce, with Slack, with whatever, I can get the best marketing person available that I can find no matter where they are. Right. Whether that's on the other side of the globe, whether that's 10 minutes from the office, whatever that is, if I can get in a world that we now have high-speed internet, we have Slack, we have platforms out there, right, Verbella, all these different platforms, I can create an office virtually, period.
Anyway. Isn't rubella a disease?
No, rubella is a disease. Verbella is a virtual office company that makes very wonderful online offices, right? I say that. I have to, disclose that I'm a partial owner in that company. But it doesn't matter. So the fact is you have...
You own stock. Don't make it sound like you're on the board or something.
Coming from a person that doesn't own stock in anything, okay?
That's not true. Okay, that's not true.
He does. His grandmother gave him 3 shares of a outdated manufacturing company from 30 years ago. Anyway.
No, that's all I had, man. I just thought it was just nutty acquisition, dude.
I
But
agree,
the
but
part of this,
it'll be good for him. It'll be great.
the part of the story that I loved was like we took this internal communication software for our failed video game company and now we are getting acquired in a matter of a decade for bajillions of dollars.
Well, and you and I talked about this. I think something smart that Salesforce did in this, at least as far as what I read today, they are basically, not only did they acquire them, according to them, they're keeping Slack and its name. They're keeping all the upper echelon of people that created this and ran it and whatever. They're like, no, we don't want to do the 90s thing, which is acquire something and then force it into our existing, right? Whatever. No. We're going to, which I think honestly is the new age way, and it could stay that way. Keep people that know what the hell they're doing, right?
Well,
and keep them in place.
Well, I mean, Google, they didn't force out, but Google is notorious for doing the acqui-hire, where they acquire a company to hire smart people, and then they run them out of the chicken coop. Like the founder of Nest, the founder of they acquired some other company. The guy who started the Sidekick phones, Danger.
Well, if they keep them around long enough to train their successor, then I guess it doesn't matter. But in this case, they're keeping the Slack guys around, the people around. They're going to let Slack continue to be Slack, at least for the foreseeable future. And ultimately, that will change, right? They'll integrate it into whatever.
Yeah, otherwise there's no point. There's no value proposition to acquire it unless you're going to do integration. So.
Right. But I think there was a lot of companies that did a very poor job of that for a while. This acquisition in name only was enough, right?
Yeah.
And they did it poorly, and I think it ended up poorly for a lot of those companies, right?
I have a tangent, which is your neck beard. I really like that you finally have a neck beard, because
I do not have a neck beard. This is not a neck beard.
You do got none of that's on your face, bro. That's on your chin, man.
It's right here. It's right here at the chin.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, as we're closing out here, it's just you have the personality of a guy who has a neck beard. So I'm just happy you finally have the neck beard.
Embraced it.
Because this whole time you've been a neck beard but didn't have the neck beard.
I was a neck beard and didn't have one.
Totally.
You know what? Just because you're an idiot and I love you, I'm going to let you get away with that. All right? Okay? Just because I'm bald-headed,
Yeah.
You're just jealous of the
I'm not.
No. You could grow this in like a week. It took me like a year and a half. Like
really?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not joking.
But okay. Well, listen, the only redeeming quality I have as a human being is that I have nice hair. The rest of it's a draw, my friend.
It's all right, brother. Just so we can close this out, you, my friend, are an idiot, even though I do appreciate you doing this with me. You are amazing.
You're also an idiot.
Folks, we'll see you next time around as we continue our idiotic conversations on this and everything else we hold dear. We'll see you next time around. Say bye, Danny.
Bye.